Alright, I'm back. This time I'm going to talk about the now probable future running back of the Minnesota Vikings, AP 2K all day, aka Adrian Peterson. It has been some tumultuous years with him lately. I think it's the best option the club got for their own future. It might seem at the time a stupid decision for some people. I can understand that with the way the club is trending, it's trending upwards, and you need a solid running back, which we saw clearly last year. There were no kind of running ability, even though it was probably most the O-line's fault due to too many changes and offensive scheme changes and injuries in general. But I think it's the clever move they need. You can just see the team needs some cap space. It's the obvious explanation for it. I understand it. It's a little sad you couldn't get anything for him as an exchange, but that's the way it is. If they had wanted to do that, they should have probably tried to send him off to Cowboys some years ago. But it is what it is. Past is past. But when it comes to this, it's certainly really annoying that he couldn't win a championship with this team. Had the chance in what was it, 09. Brett Favre hadn't. I love Brett Favre too, even though he's a Packer. But I think in retrospect, he's probably one of the greatest athletes I've ever seen in my life. A freak of nature, beyond words, what he had accomplished through injuries. Superhuman. I don't know if it's legal or not, the way he obtained his power. That's not, I mean through doping or such, but that's just my view on American sports, and I've come to terms with it. It's alright if they just know the sacrifice they're going to make later on, and nobody gets hurt except themselves. But that's not likely. But that's just the way it is with some sports around the world. If you want to be the best or the greatest, which he certainly wanted to be, and for a time was in the league. Yeah. I think it's good also, in some part, for the offense to get a real clean start, with all the worrying about they have to do this and this and this. They have to run out of this formation to be able to use him. It's ruining the scheme. It's making the team really, really non-flexible. It's actually hindering in certain extents the offensive production. Even though he when he's good, he's great. Where other running backs would be good, he's great. That is what I meant to say. But I just think right now he's not all over the hill, in my opinion, at all. You could probably get 2 years out of him. That's something for certain clubs. I can certainly see the Giants needing him, but I don't know about their O-line and their scheme, but they need some running game, which you could clearly see in the playoffs. Then again, Vikings, back to them. I think they certainly need to address the running back situation, not immediately, for certainty, with the way the draft picks are going right now. I don't think it's worth to go out of your way to, even though it's probably a good class. It is a great class. I don't know if it's worth selling the house for somebody. You need to be certain about that, and that's damn hard to be sure about. And then again, I also think one of the years the Vikings under Mike Zimmer has made the greatest progress is when they are not forced to be linear in their playing style. I actually think the Vikings tend to play better when they are flexible, when they're not so damn easy to predict, when you know it's not on let's just say third and one, that you know they're not just going to run the ball each time, which knew when Adrian was in the lineup, even though he probably would get the first down. I think it's bad for when you're going to make certain runs, because at least if you want to beat teams like Patriots, where you can't rely on just one guy, or other teams who are great at adjusting at your best assets on your team, then you need to be able to focus on other things. And I think you saw progress throughout the year with the receivers. If you remember back to when Teddy Bridgewater got here, even though it's so sad with him, and I really hope at least he gets to walk properly. I don't know. Actually, I don't care if he can play again. I respect him thoroughly, and whatever decision he makes, I wish him the best. Don't do something silly. But when you saw his season, it was probably one of the greatest things for him to happen. He's not being forced. Being forced to play the Adrian Peterson style. He needed to learn and adapt. The offense needed to learn and adapt. The same thing happened this year. It probably was a struggle. It probably was a shit year. It was a shit year. It's not probable. It was just a shit year. It was terrible for the team. But you need to endure this kind of pain. You need to endure the struggle to be able to come out with anything, to learn something. If you're just staying the same all the time, which the Vikings was doing for way too long, because he was so great, that the only thing that tells me is how great he was as a player, and nothing about the Vikings. But when you remain the same, when you linger, it's really bad for your progression, your evolution as a team. And I know it's buzzwords and such, but you can just clearly see the progress you're making, the strides you're making for each time you're making things on the fly, which are not meant to be that way. So certain teams need to be unpredictable. I know it's corny to say, but when you got nothing unpredictable about you, you need to be so great that it's damn near impossible to be at that level. You need to have at least a running back at the Adrian Peterson level, and you need also a quarterback at the same level. And you need to go back to the Cowboys' legacy days in the 90s to be able to find something like that. Or you need a receiver or something to make up for it. In a way, you can't only have one threat throughout your team, no matter how great they are. That's not sport anymore. I'm sorry. That's just not the way it is anymore. I know you can make certain extreme examples, but that probably have something to do with luck or an extreme period of excellence from one guy, or a team maybe overperforming a hell of a lot, and you can't rely on that. You need to be reliable in your playing, and that was my problem with the Vikings. They were not reliable last year, but they would not get any more reliable if you're going to base all your efforts and strategy and money into a guy which had proven a lot. He's proven himself. Certainly he's a Hall of Famer. I'm not trying to discredit him, but you can't stay with him at this point. It's risk / reward is not adding up, and that is what great management is all about. It's making those decisions, and I thoroughly believe that Rick Spielman, whatever you want to say about him, and Mike Zimmer, if there were two guys I would rely on, it would probably be around about them. Maybe not Spielman in each situation, but at least Zimmer. I'm certain that he's making a good call on this. He might not be right each and single time, but I know he has done the right preparation about this. And I know it's also for the best of Adrian Peterson in a way. He is liberated from the Vikings. He probably, if he wants to, he could probably go to any club he wanted if he's willing to take a pay cut and try to win a ring ASAP, to cement his legacy. But if he wants the money, it's all good for me. It's not a problem at all. Anybody could call him money hungry, but look at his feet, body of work, or whatever you want to call it. You can't blame him. It's all good, in my opinion. But yeah, the point is that of this video is just to sum up what an amazing player he was, and is probably still for some years. But it's not the equation is not adding up right now. It's too much of a gamble. You can't have this running throughout the season. It was almost getting to a point where you're counting each yard he's making, because it was like you have to be certain that he's worth it. And if you're going to do that all season long, it's going to be, it would just be another burden on Mike Zimmer, which I thought has done an excellent job managing everything. But I don't think it's fair anymore to keep shitting on him, on his bed. It's simply unfair. And I know nothing is fair in life, but you can at least try to make the circumstances for his excellence. You can try to give him a fair ground to prove himself even more, because you would probably punish him and his system if you kept doing things that was only meant for the legacy of a player, or for a wishful thought about a player being there forever. That is just not the way it is. I'm sorry. But yeah, we can enjoy. We had Chad Greenway, for fuck's sake. It's not a problem. Man, certain players can't stay forever. It's just fans' logic. And I love that the Vikings didn't do a fans' logic job about this. That is progress, which I have not seen for years. So kudos to them, and kudos to Adrian for whatever he wants to do, or wishes to do. And kudos, big time, forever, to AP2K all day. See you guys.